Ever notice how the people with the biggest ideas about fixing society are usually the ones who don't actually do anything?
They love the sound of their own voice. Real change takes work, not just opinions.
Writers, journalists, professors, intellectuals, they love socialism. But why?
They like socialism because it gives them power. It lets them pretend they're the heroes without ever getting their hands dirty.
Economist Friedrich Hayek had an answer. Intellectuals are drawn to big, grand visions, ideas that sound perfect on paper but fail in the real world. Socialism promises fairness, equality, and a perfect planned society. The problem? Life doesn't work like that.
Yeah, they get fooled by the shiny promise of a perfect world, but reality's messy. They're tools for people in power, dreaming while the rest of us deal with the chaos.
They think the economy can be designed like a machine instead of evolving naturally through individual choices. To them, the free market looks messy and unfair, so they try to control it. But every time they do, prices go up, businesses struggle, and people lose freedom.
Exactly. They can't handle that life isn't fair, so they chase fantasies of control. But their big plans just break things and make life harder for everyone.
And since intellectuals share public opinion, their ideas spread, even when they fail over and over again.
People love grand ideas, even if they don't work. Intellectuals push them because it makes them feel important, not because it helps anyone.
But here's the real kicker. The people at the top, corporate elites, politicians, they don't actually believe in this stuff. They just use it to gain more power. The more rules they create, the harder it is for the average person to succeed without playing their game.
Exactly. The elites push these ideals to keep everyone else struggling and distracted, while they keep stacking power. People don't see they're just pawns in someone else's game.
They can afford to fail. You can't. While they experiment with different ways to control the system, you're stuck dealing with the consequences.
That's the system in a nutshell. The people in charge gamble with your life for their own gain. And when things go wrong, you're the one left, holding the bag.
The best way to fight back? Become independent. Own your skills, control your finances, and think for yourself. The less they control, the freer you are. In the end, the real world doesn't care about theory. Only results matter.
Exactly. Build your own power, learn the rules, and beat them at their own game. Independence is the only way to stay strong in a world full of manipulators.
Intellectuals push policies that make life harder for regular people while keeping themselves insulated from the consequences. Here are just a few examples. Housing crises. The same people who promote socialist policies are the ones making housing unaffordable. They push for endless regulations, rent controls, and zoning laws that limit housing supply. But they don't live in those cramped apartments. They lived in gated communities with skyrocketing property values.
Classic tale. They say they're fixing things, but really, they're just protecting their own turf. The rules they make trap everyone else, while they enjoy the view from their ivory towers.
Inflation and economic policies. They preach about stimulating the economy by printing money and raising taxes. But when inflation destroys your savings, they aren't affected. They've got family wealth, investments, and trust funds to fall back on. Meanwhile, your paycheck buys less every year.
That's how it is. The ones in power rig the system to benefit themselves, then leave the rest of us to deal with the mess they created. If you want control, you have to play their game without falling for their lies.
College debt crisis. Universities, run by these so-called intellectuals, charge absurd tuition fees, selling students on useless degrees. Then, when graduates can't find work, they demand the government forgive the debt, meaning taxpayers foot the bill while colleges keep racking in profits.
Exactly. They sell dreams at a premium, then wash their hands when reality hits. The system thrives on exploiting people's hopes and leaving them buried in debt. If you want freedom, you can't play by their rules.
Green policies that crush the poor. They push expensive climate policies like carbon taxes and bans on affordable energy sources, but while they drive Teslas and live in well-heated homes, working class people struggle to pay their bills because energy prices keep rising.
It's a game rigged from the start. The elites preach sustainability, but only for their own benefit. If you want to survive, you need to find your own solutions outside their systems.
Censorship and thought control. They claim to stand for free speech until someone questions their narrative. Whether it's social media censorship or speech laws, they push for tighter controls on what people can say. Of course, their voices are never silenced, only the ones who challenge their ideas.
Elites love free speech until it threatens their power. They're not about truth, just control. If you value freedom, you have to question everything and find your own way through their lies.
Why are these people like this? Most of these intellectuals have never had to struggle. They were born into privilege, raised with silver spoons in their mouths, and went to elite schools where they were told they were smarter than everyone else. Nepotism is everywhere. Government positions, media, academia. They don't climb the ranks through merit. They inherit connections, names, and networks that regular people could never access. They look down on people who actually keep society running. Blue-collar workers, small business owners, anyone who doesn't sit around theorizing all day. They have no skin in the game. When their policies fail, they don't pay the price. You do.
Elites thrive on inherited privilege and nepotism, not merit. They're detached from real struggles and build systems that protect them from their own failures. If you want freedom, you can't rely on these people.
So Takara, the first step is to recognize the truth and stop falling for their lies. What's the next step?
Build your own skills and independence. Don't play by their rules. Systems are rigged, so carve your own path and make sure their failures don't become your problems.